At this hour, recovering, returning and rebuilding. We had the latest from the Bahamas after Hurricane Dorian. Plus, what's next for Brexit after a staggering defeat? Yet another one for the British Prime Minister. Plus, how the investigation into Harvey Weinstein unfolded. We have new details on a new book about the disgraced Hollywood producer. All that and much more right here at the International Desk. Hello and welcome. I'm Lynda Kinkade. Right now, evacuations and rescue efforts continue in the Bahamas as the Prime Minister promises those who left that they will be able to return home to rebuild communities. Well, as you can see by these pictures, Hurricane Dorian flattened homes and neighbourhoods in the Northern Islands. Thousands of people had to flee. As of now, the official death toll stands at 50. But officials warn it will go much higher as recovery teams search through destroyed houses and buildings. CNN's Paula Newton has been covering this storm. She shows us the desperation survivors face as they wait for word on the fate of missing loved ones.
For many survivors of Hurricane Dorian, the nightmare of this storm isn't over. They are terrified of what they may face next. Winnis Lewisdor is frantic. She hasn't seen her cousin since Dorian flattened Marsh Harbor more than a week ago. She says Leonard Fradlett is a quiet, generous 33-year-old contractor.
I hope they find him. I hope so. You just have a son. You don't even know the baby face yet. I hope they find him. I hope so. People tell us while he was swimming, a wood hit him and broken arm. I don't know if that's the reason why, cause like he can't swim no more cause he dead. I don't know.
Evacuated just a few days ago, Lewisdor tells us it's been tough to even know where or how to start looking for her cousin. For that reason, Vanessa Pritchard started DorianPeopleSearch.com with a handful of volunteers and her laptop. The list is a living document of the missing and located, and a place to start for so many.
There are still people missing, and we have to look at the timeline of where we are. How many days has it been since Dorian passed over the Abacos? How many days has it been since Dorian sat over Grand Bahama for 40 straight hours? And so that's, you know, that's hard. That's really hard.
And survivors are still coping with so much.
Miranda needs to go to the doctor because she was having some back pains and she's 6 months pregnant.
Ann Wilmore in Marsh Harbor has so much on her mind, she hasn't even had time to report one of her relatives as missing, let alone look for her. It's one of the reasons that getting an accurate number of those missing and feared dead has been so difficult to come by. And it adds to the agonizing administrative details now so frustrating survivors.
All passengers that don't have U.S. visa, please proceed to disembark.
In Freeport, dozens of desperate evacuees on a ferry bound for the U.S. were told to get off the boat as they didn't have visas. U.S. Border and Customs Patrol says the ferry company should have coordinated with them and it wouldn't have happened. But it was too late for so many. Paula Newton, CNN, Nassau, Bahamas.
So you see there the frustration of survivors, the monumental task of rebuilding. We're about to be joined by Latrae Rahming. He was the press secretary to the former Bahamian Prime Minister Christie. He's been touring the hardest hit islands and posting videos of the devastation. That's one of the videos from Abaco. Latrae Rahming joins us now via Skype. And obviously I've seen a number of the videos that you've posted on Twitter showing just utter devastation. Just describe what you've been seeing.
I think it was catastrophic. I mean, it was like thanks for having me. It was like a nuclear bomb had just dropped on a part of the island. Utter devastation. There wasn't no vital signs of any civilization that existed. I've been able to frequent Marsh Harbor for a very long time, and the devastation is from the airport to the tourist and the commercial hub.
So people, I've seen from your video, evacuating on dump trucks. People obviously doing what they can to get out. Just describe the sort of help that people are getting.
Well, currently now, most of the persons would have evacuated from the island of the part of the settlement of Marsh Harbor. About 5,000 persons evacuated by plane, via plane, and via boat. So the island is much destituted. Not much persons were there. During the storm, most of the evacuations were done by heavy vehicles or marine craft like jet skis. But currently, if you were to go to the island right now, there's not much left.
Yeah, certainly not a lot left. Some people trying to flee headed towards the US were told quite rudely to get off a ferry on their way to Florida because they didn't have visas. I don't know if you've had a chance to see those pictures, to hear what was said to those people desperately fleeing. But we've also heard from the President of the United States making a baseless claim that some people trying to flee the Bahamas might be part of a gang. What do you make of that?
Well, I don't would suggest. I think what happens is there are a lot of persons who are desperate and in search for opportunity. Their communities and way of life has been destroyed. Their civilization is disrupted, and so people are looking for a way to cope with their new reality. These aren't criminals. These aren't gang members. I can assure you that the administrative parts on the Bahamas, through NEMA and other government authorities, understand that these are individuals in search and looking at and desperate in desperation. I think that the U.S. authorities could have confidence in the Bahamian officials to do a structured vetting process to ensure that the persons who are trying to go to the United States are vetted and has no criminal background.
The Bahamas have been repeatedly hit by hurricanes, especially in recent years. There's no doubt you're very resilient as a country. What's needed most right now to help rebuild?
Well, I think the challenge you have is the devastation stand at about $8 billion. Over the last 5 years, we've had several major hurricanes, so that totaled us the devastation up to $10 billion in capital development. What is important, what is needed right now is structure investment to help propel infrastructure development. Outside, I think the small things is just the people who can help deal with the psychological trauma that most persons are confronted with. You heard the stories of persons who committed suicide when they saw their loved ones swept away by the seas and they jumped in. You hear stories of persons who watched their family died in the storm. And so the psychological impact of the storm is longer, and we could rebuild infrastructure. So how do we begin to repeat people's lives who have been traumatized is a different conversation.
Latrae, Rahming, it's really good to get your perspective. Thanks for the videos you've filmed to show us what people are dealing with there. And we wish you all the best, and we hope to speak to you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.